Hello everyone and happy summer. Today when I'm filming this, it is June 20th, 2025, and that is the summer solstice. So I not only have a bunch of summer book recommendations for you today from a bunch of different authors, a bunch of different genres, and I'm so excited to tell you about them, but I also have a giveaway to tell you about that I'll be hosting through my Etsy shop, and I also have an Etsy restock. I have 3 new bookmarks, so I want to tell you about the giveaway and the bookmarks first very quickly, and then we'll get into the summer recommendations. Why I want to do this giveaway is to thank all of the very kind people that have shopped and continue to shop on and in my Etsy shop and that support my artwork, and I really just can't do any of this without you guys. I've never done a giveaway like this before, but I think I want to make it more of a regular occurrence because I have a bunch of spare, I don't exactly know what's going to be in the giveaway, that's the funny thing. I have a bunch of extra bookmarks and author portraits and a few other little bits and bobs that I thought would be really cute to put in a giveaway. I don't exactly know what's going to go in each. I think I'm going to choose 2 winners, and how you enter is basically I would just really appreciate it if you ordered from my Etsy shop. So when this drop goes live on Tuesday, June 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everybody that places an order in my Etsy shop for the first 2 days, so I will end it on June 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the people that order within the first 48 hours are going to be put into a little giveaway raffle. And I'll pick 2 winners and I will send some little goodies to those 2 winners, just as a way to thank people for shopping at my Etsy store. And I think I'm going to do this every time I do a restock. I'm going to randomly pick one customer that has placed an order and I'm going to give them some extra goodies. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of your love and support, and I think this is just an extra way for me to say thank you. And it's also just fun. I love the idea of doing this, so I hope you're excited too. So, like I said, I have 3 new bookmarks and then the rest of the orders in my Etsy shop. You don't have to order one of the 3 new bookmarks, just anything from my Etsy shop to be entered to win. But the 3 new bookmarks I am so excited to show you. The first bookmark I love so much, if I do say so myself. I think it's so sweet, and I have called it the Author's Library. So I designed it to look like a library card borrowing slip, and if you can see all of the names on there, they are a bunch of different classic authors that have signed out this one book. And in gold foil, the author of this book is me, Carolyn Marie Wellstead, and the book is How to Write a Masterpiece. It is a fictitious book that I made up myself. The idea for this bookmark came to me when I was wondering if authors were able to borrow books from the library. I wonder what books these classic authors would borrow, and I just came up with this really sweet, kind of funny, fictitious book that I wrote called How to Write a Masterpiece, because all of these authors have written masterpieces. So the first author on here is Jane Austen, then Charlotte Bronte, Leo Tolstoy, Oscar Wilde, Virginia Woolf, and I believe the next one is Emily Dickinson, but I kind of had to cut it off because of it being put into the slip. I basically traced their actual signatures and wrote them as if they truly did sign their names. And the dates on the slip are actually significant to books that they have written. I won't tell you exactly which ones. I feel like that could be a little fun scavenger hunt, little research scavenger hunt for you. And they are also double-sided. It's the same design on the other side, and like I showed you, it is gold foil. There you go, now you can see the gold foil. So it goes all the way around the slip, and it's also on the author and title of the book. I am so happy with how this turned out. I think it's really sweet and perfect for any classics lover or any library lover in general. The next bookmark might be one of my favorites, and that is because it combines 2 of my absolute loves, and that is birds and flowers. And gold foil. I love gold foil. I have called this one The Flying Gardener. I am ridiculously happy with how this one turned out. I think the gold foil bird is just absolutely stunning. I love how this way the line work looks very dark, but then when the light hits the gold, you can really see the rose pop out. It's just such an amazing effect, and I'm just so happy with how this one turned out. Like I said, I love nature, especially roses. I love birds, and I wanted something that felt really ethereal and enchanting and whimsical and magical, and I feel like this bookmark really does feel that way. So I hope you love it as much as I do. And I called it the Flying Gardener because I'm picturing that this bird is kind of like a gardener of sorts. Maybe he's watching over the flowers and taking care of them. But love this one so much, and I feel like it really is perfect for spring and summer, so that's why I wanted to create something like that now. This last one I think might be one of my favorites of all time that I've ever made. So here is the Peony Window, and it is inspired by, as you might be able to guess, stained glass. I absolutely love the artistry behind stained glass windows, and of course I am a huge flower lover, and so when I came up with this idea of doing something with silver foil as if it was a stained glass window, oh my gosh, I was so excited to see how this came out, and my jaw literally dropped when I saw this. Look at that shine. Oh my gosh. Peonies are another one of my very favorite flowers, and I truly love the colors and just the shine. I feel like it's so magical and enchanting and beautiful. I am super biased, but this truly is one of my favorite bookmarks I've ever made. I hope that you guys love them as much as I do, and that they accompany you if you purchase one on all of your reading journeys. I am so excited for you guys to see these in person because I just feel like nothing does them justice when you see them in person. Oh my goodness, it's just gorgeous. If I do say so myself, I feel like I'm really boasting myself up, but they are just so stunning, and I'm really happy with them. Like I said, these are the 3 new bookmarks coming to my Etsy shop. There is older work that has been in there since my last restock. Restocked author portraits and everything. I am restocking the one Lily of the Valley embroidered mini bookmark. And there's the clothing, of course, and so everything in my Etsy shop, whatever's shown there is what's available. And to enter to win the giveaway, you just have to place an order. It can be one thing or however many things you want to order, and I will pick 2 winners, and I will contact the winners, and I will also send out the little extra goodies along with their order or separate from their order. I have to see how the shipping should work. But anyway, I'm so excited for this, and I hope that you guys are excited too. Now it is time for some summer book recommendations. The first 2 books on this list are on my TBR. I haven't read them yet, but I figured I would show you them in case you haven't seen them, you want to add them to your TBR as well. They just scream summer to me. They even have summer in the title. Both of these books have the word summer in the title. The first book I have spoken about recently on my channel, and that is The Summer Book by Tove Jansson. On the back, it even says, in the summer book, Tove Jansson distills the essence of the summer, its sunlight and storms, into 22 crystalline vignettes. This brief novel tells the story of Sophia, a 6-year-old girl awakening to existence, and Sophia's grandmother nearing the end of hers. As they spend the summer on a tiny, unspoiled island in the Gulf of Finland, the grandmother is unsentimental and wise, if a little cranky. Sophia is impetuous and volatile, but she tends to her grandmother with the care of a new parent. Together they amble over coastline and forest in easy companionship, build boats from bark, create a miniature Venice, write a fanciful study of local bugs. They discuss things that matter to young and old alike: life, death, the nature of God and of love. On the island, thinks the grandmother, everything is complete. In the summer book, Jansson creates her own complete world full of the varied joys and sorrows of life. That is an incredible blurb, and it sounds amazing, and I can't wait to read it, and I feel like this is truly the summer book. The next book with summer in the title that is on my TBR for this year is The Beautiful Summer by Cesare Pavese, and this has an introduction by Elizabeth Strout, and it is from Penguin's European Writers editions, and the translator is W.J. Strachan. It's the height of summer in 1930s Italy. and 16-year-old Ginia is desperate for adventure. So begins a fateful friendship with Amelia, a stylish and sophisticated artist model who envelopes her in a dazzling new world of bohemian artists and intoxicating freedom. Under the spell of her new friend, Ginia soon falls in love with Guido, an enigmatic young painter. It's the start of a desperate love affair charged with false hope and overwhelming passion, destined to last no longer than the course of the summer. The Beautiful Summer is a heart-wrenching tale of lost innocence and first love by one of Italy's greatest writers. I have not read anything from Cesare Pavese before, and I have actually not read any of the Penguin European Writers books, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's also nice and short, and I feel like nothing screams summer like a book set in Italy in the summer. Amazing. That's what I've really been striving for. I've been talking about that quite a lot in my videos, of really wanting the Italian summer feeling this summer. Speaking of Italian summer, I read this book, completely fell in love with it, and this is what gave me the desire for more Italian literature, but also Italian literature set in summer. This is the second book in the Neapolitan Quartet by Elena Ferrante, and these are translated by Anne Goldstein. This is the second book, so I highly recommend reading My Brilliant Friend first, but this book has gorgeous, gorgeous descriptions of Italian summer. This book is about two best friends as well as their families and other friends in their lives. It is about girlhood and coming of age and falling in love, falling out of love. It's about life, and that's what I love about these books so much. It is set in Naples and around Naples, and this specific book has a lot of scenes during the summertime. And I just felt like as I was reading, I could feel the scorching heat on my skin. I could smell the salt air. It's just gorgeous. The descriptions are so vivid, and this is one of the most beautiful depictions of female friendship and sisterhood that I've ever read about. And also coming of age. Elena Ferrante writes about growing up and growing into your womanhood in the most authentic way I've ever experienced. And I think being a woman, going from being a girl to becoming a woman, is such a complicated change and a complicated experience. And the way that Elena Ferrante writes about it was so authentic and true and honest, and I was reflecting on how I felt at that time in my life, and it's just some of the most beautiful writing, gorgeously told, and the descriptions are perfect for summer, absolutely perfect. I love this series so much and cannot recommend it enough. The next book I want to recommend is another recent read, and that is The Salt Path by Raynor Winn. This is a gorgeous nonfiction book, and I listened to the audiobook that Raynor Winn narrates herself, and it was stunning. So this is about her and her husband Moth walking the southwest coast path. It is 630 miles, and it goes from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. It says, living wild and free at the mercy of sea and sky, they discovered a new, liberating existence. But what would they find at the journey's end? So this is about Raynor and Moth losing their home and becoming homeless in a very devastating way. One of my favorite aspects of this book is how she discusses homelessness and how we perceive the homeless, and it made me think about that in a very different way. It was just so eye-opening and beautifully told. So Moth, also her husband, is suffering from corticobolus degeneration. The abbreviation is CBD, and I think it has to do with his bones weakening or having a lot of pain in his joints. I'm not exactly sure, but I looked up the name just to give you the exact name. But I found her conversations on marriage and having to deal with the idea of losing her husband, and also Moth dealing with this illness. It was all so beautifully told and heartwarming, heartbreaking, again, very eye-opening and thought-provoking and really profound. And hearing her story is just a beautiful experience. And why I'm recommending this book for summertime is because of the stunning descriptions of this coastal walk that they take, and also how nature, because they are camping for such a long time and they're walking for such a long time, the elements and the natural elements of the world around them plays a really big impact on their experience. And she talks about how her skin feeling really dry from the salt air and the hot sun, and her hair being really like straw because of, again, the elements and not washing her hair, washing it in the ocean. And so her experience feels so vivid, and I can't imagine, well, I can, I read this recently, more in the springtime, but I feel like even reading this in the summer, you can almost put yourself into her shoes, because I love reading seasonally because it almost transports you into the story. If I'm reading about someone experiencing something that they're describing the really hot sun, if I'm reading this also feeling that same heat, it almost blurs the line of fact and fiction, and I love that feeling. So this is a gorgeous, gorgeous story, and I highly recommend it, especially for summer. The next book is one of my very favorites by one of my favorite authors, and that is Foster by Claire Keegan. I love Claire Keegan's writing. This is I would call it a novella. It's quite short and is a beautiful story. And I was double checking to make sure that this book was set either in the spring or summer. The first line of the blurb is, "It's a hot summer in rural Ireland." So we have the coast path in the summer, we have Italy in the summer, we have Finland in the summer. We are traveling to all different countries in the summertime, this summer, and in these books. It says, a heartbreaking story of childhood, loss, and love from best-selling author Claire Keegan. So Claire Keegan is a fantastic Irish author. All of her books are set in Ireland, and this is about a young girl who is kind of neglected by her family because there are so many children. She has so many brothers and sisters that her parents aren't really giving her the attention that she deserves and needs, and so they send her to live with their distant relatives, and it's about how she impacts these other people, this older couple's lives, and how they impact her life. I loved the way that Claire Keegan explored familial love in this book, as well as childhood, and it's such a stunning story. I don't want to say too much because it is short. Foster and Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, both of them are my two favorite of her works. Small Things Like These is set in the winter time before Christmas, but this one, of course, is set in summer, so that's why I'm recommending it now. But I love Claire Keegan's work, and this is truly one of the most beautiful, impactful stories, and I can't recommend it enough again. The next one I'm not going to say too much about because everyone knows about it, everyone talks about it, almost everyone loves it, and it's one of my favorites. It's quintessential summer. It's set in northern Italy in the 80s. It has a gorgeous movie adaptation. Can you guess what book it is? It's Call Me By Your Name by Andrei Asiaman. This is one of my favorite books. I read it years and years and years ago. It is still one of my favorites. I love the movie so much. This is one of the most beautifully written novels I've ever read, and I will love it forever, and I had to recommend it. I wasn't going to recommend it, but I was like, no, I have to. It's so quintessential summer reading. But if you haven't picked it up, I highly recommend it. It's a gorgeous story about passion and sexuality and friendship and familial love and acceptance, and it's beautifully, beautifully done. And I love it. And I highly recommend it, of course. This next book is another one that I don't have to say a lot about because it is so well known, and that is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is set on Long Island. I live on Long Island, and there's one scene in the book where the characters go into New York City on this very, very hot day, and that is just quintessential New York summer. The way that it is described, this scorching hot day in the city, I kind of despise going to New York City in the summertime because it is just so brutally hot, but it's also beautiful in that way as well, and I do love the city in the summertime because it is gorgeous, although it's boiling, absolutely boiling hot. And I love the scenery of, this is set on the Gold Coast, and of course you have the beautiful Gatsby mansion overlooking the bay with the green light. I just feel like it's so quintessential Long Island summer, as well as that scorching hot scene in the city. I feel like it's so perfect to read in the summertime. I feel like this is quite a divisive book. You either kind of love it or hate it, but I love it, and I highly recommend it if you haven't read it, or if you want to do a reread. Summer might be a good time for a reread. This next book is slightly lesser known, and it is a gorgeous Persephone book, and that is The Fortnight in September by R.C. Sheriff. I love recommending this book, especially for the summertime, because I read it in the summertime when I went on vacation with my family, and this book is about a family going on holiday. And if you bring this on holiday with you or on vacation with you, it is the perfect companion, because I started it when my vacation started, and then it starts with this family's vacation starting, and you can kind of go on vacation with this family, and I loved reading it that way. It's a beautiful depiction of family and siblinghood, parent and child relationships. It's just this really beautiful story of a family on vacation, and it sounds simple, but I found it so profound, beautifully written, and I felt really connected by the end of the novel. I was kind of sad to be going home and leaving these people, because it almost felt like I was meeting these people on vacation. Like, you know, whenever, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, it's happened to me, where you go on vacation and maybe you're at the beach and you make friends with the people next to you or something, or you make friends while you're on vacation and then you have to leave those friends. It almost felt like that, but fictitious friends. So I love this book. It's also just like screaming summer on the cover. Of course, highly recommend it. The next book is from one of my favorite writers who I just made a whole reading vlog about, and that is John Steinbeck's The Pearl. My last video was me reading and falling in love with East of Eden by John Steinbeck. East of Eden has now become one of my all-time favorite books. I highly recommend it to read it in the summer, but I also really wanted to recommend The Pearl. Since I just talked about East of Eden, I thought I would talk about something different. The Pearl is written as a fable, and it's beautifully, beautifully done. It's very short. This one really reads as kind of like a fairy tale almost. So the back says, "The Pearl is an endearing and classic fable sensitively told, in simple and beautiful language. It is the story of a fisherman who found a pearl beyond price, the pearl of the world. With the pearl, he hoped to buy peace and happiness for himself, his wife, and their little son. Instead, he found that peace and happiness were not to be purchased. They are themselves pearls beyond price. The Pearl is a book to be read many times and cherished forever." This book is poignant and thought-provoking and profound and really short, and it just packs such a punch. And I love books that have a moral element to it, that have more of a fable feel, and I can't recommend this enough. It is perfect if you want to try out John Steinbeck's writing but you don't want to read something very long. This is such an approachable story, and his writing is gorgeous. I truly love everything that he's done, that I've read, and I can't wait to read more, especially Grapes of Wrath. Now that I've read East of Eden, I am so excited to read Grapes of Wrath. I also really want to read The Red Pony. The next book that I want to recommend is another all-time favorite, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I love this book so much. I'm specifically recommending it for the summertime because of the stunning descriptions. So this book is a bit haunting and a little eerie and mysterious, but beautifully, beautifully described. It is set at this gorgeous estate called Manderley, and I love how Daphne du Maurier describes the scenery, especially how she describes rhododendrons. They are gorgeous. There are scenes that take place on a boat. There is some, seaside descriptions, and it's really a very different vibe to these books, but I think it could be even more impactful if you read it in the summer, just because, like I said, it elevates that reading experience in terms of your surroundings, if that makes sense. I love this book. I don't want to say too much about it because I think it's most exciting to discover on your own. It's so vivid and I think really truly perfect for summer. The last two books I want to recommend are from the same poet, and that is Mary Oliver. I am just recommending Mary Oliver in general. These two poetry collections, I think they're both perfect for summer. This one is Blue Horses and this one is 1,000 Mornings. I read them both recently and loved both of them so much. They really are so perfect for spring or summer. I also love her essay collection called Upstream. That is really perfect for spring and summer as well. I will never stop recommending Mary Oliver because I love her so much. How many books is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, well here are the 12 book recommendations that I have for you for the summertime. I would love to know what books are on your summer TBR or what books you recommend to read in the summertime. I hope that you found something that piqued your interest. I would love to know what you think of these books and your recommendations because one of my favorite things is getting your recommendations in the comments. So thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for everyone that is supporting me in my Etsy shop, my YouTube channel. You guys mean the world to me, and I'm so excited about this giveaway so that I can truly give you an extra thank you, an extra opportunity to say thank you. So yes, don't forget that my Etsy drop and restock is happening on Tuesday, June 24th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. There will be a link to my Etsy shop in the description. I will also be posting about it on my Instagram. It's open worldwide. I should have said that. It's open worldwide. All you have to do is place an order of anything on June 24th from 12 p.m. until June 26th, 12 p.m. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I will also write out everything in the description in case you want a written form. Anyway, I'm going to stop blabbing now. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will see you again very soon in another video. Happy summer and happy reading!